Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to another review. This time is the SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Amazon, the renewal version. So let's get started. I really love the renewal line. It's a favorite of mine. Uh, if you love Kamen Rider, this is one of those things where, as far as Showa riders go, I am now starting to get into the really crazy stage of we'll be getting stuff like Amazon. I thought we'd never get a renewal of him, so I'm super duper excited. Anyway, like, this is just really cool, especially if you read Kamen Rider Spirits. You got a lot of love for the Shore Riders and how ridiculously strong they are. So it's cool to see this. But anyway, I'm going to take this scarf off so we can get into the amount of articulation and stuff. And we're going to jump into that first. Actually, no, we're going to jump into the detail first because I actually really, really love the detail put into the renewal line. And it's just absolutely exceptional. As you can see here, there are a ton of carvings within the body that makes it actual, like, the Amazon Zod. And it's not just one of those things where it's painted on. It's actually well, it is painted on, but it's actually redone to the point where it's actually grooves in it, so you can feel the ridges in between the different parts of the body. And I think that's really dope. It's the same way with the helmet. It has a excellent feel because of that. The fin is pretty dope. It actually moves a little at the backside, but yeah, the compound eyes, the ridges all over the body, sort of like a really big, large body tattoo, and that executed with the proportion articulation is the reason why I really do love this line. But anyway, let's jump into the articulation. The head can go up, the head can go down. Amazon has a really big head, but it still can tilt side to side, and it gives you a great range of motion for a guy with a really big head. And that's okay because one of the coolest features on Amazon is the fact that the mouth opens. So Amazon is quite savage. Amazon's show was really brutal and a lot darker. It was a beginning of the really, really dark stuff like blood and chopping off heads and stuff like that. So it's really cool to see that they kind of kept that element with him, especially now with the mouth open. I'm a really big fan of that. As far as the arms go, you can actually lift the arm very high up. There is a butterfly joint that allows you to go backwards and forwards to give you an extra range of motion. There's bicep swivel, especially both on the top of the arm and here in the actual bicep. The arms are indeed double jointed. Mine's it still needs time to be broken in, so I got to be a little bit more careful. But as you can see, the range is actually excellent. These are soft, but they are sharp, so please be aware and don't hurt yourself. There's forearm swivel at the glove as well. So they literally gave you range at every motion and every part of the arm here. As far as the upper torso goes, oh, one thing I want to cover on the GG amulet side. The side with the amulet actually is not hindered. Like, mine is just really stiff, but you can actually get a full rotation despite the armlet being there. So don't have to worry about it. Still full rotation. Now, as far as the chest area, the chest can actually move around with the breastplates. So you actually have a room for extra bit of articulation. See, I spread them apart a little, but you can actually move them back. The articulation going forward seems like there's none, but you can move the plates up. And what happens is you can rotate them forward to give you an extra bit of articulation. You do have to you do have to slide the articulation of the abs a little out of the way, but you see, you can actually move them forward a bit. Not a whole lot, but going backwards, there's a ton. And when you move them back, you want to move the plates down so you have a smooth motion of articulation. It doesn't look like it's separating too much. You can twist them sideways, left and right. You can actually tilt it side to side as well, which will give you those Amazon maneuvers that you all want. Now, as far as the lower body goes, the driver is on a loose waist belt, and the reason why, because you want that extra range when you're going to be able to do a ton of stuff articulation-wise. So I don't mind it that it wiggles around a bit. Doesn't bother me. Next up, I want to go over the legs. Now, the legs, we call him Thunder Thighs Amazon, me and my friends, because his legs are a much bigger proportion than originally, and I like this design a lot more. It's one of those things where, design-wise, really thin legs don't really work for Amazon, especially when you want to have that hefty rider-like feel. And the legs actually twist out a little, as you can see here. They fold all the way out. They fold out really far. You can rotate them up and forward, and same going back, but it's hindered by the buttocks plate, as you can see here. The legs are double jointed, and there is calf motion at the thigh, and there is ankle pivot. Really, really good ankle pivot, as well as toe pivot. All really nicely done, and all looking great. But the reason why I was saying about the belt is because literally Amazon's has a ton of moves and articulation that just, like, if you want to I'll show you. It's actually just easier I show you because I'm terrible at explaining this part. But as you can see, you can actually get your Spider-Man on with Amazon if you really, really wanted to. Not even like hindering the belt. All the articulation is there. The only gripe that you would have if you wanted to see this kind of stuff, it breaks up a little bit here. And that's because it's allowing you to, there's a plate that comes out that gives you the extra range of motion. But as far as the actual look of it, it looks absolutely fabulous that you can do this. I love it. You can actually get him to a ton of poses because of that, where you can actually, you just have the look and the feel. As you can see here, you can get down and have tons of articulation. So you can do the Amazon stance, the Amazon rider stance. You can do the part where you do that Zetsu-zen and a ton of other moves. You definitely can get your Tarzan jungle rider like feel with Amazon. And this is really dope. To the point where I think he has enough range to actually put on the heels of the toes, depending on what kind of move you're going to do or pose you're going to get. But as you can see here, excellent, excellent range of motion. And I like that a lot. Now, as far as accessories of what he... Oops, sorry. I'm out there bumping my stuff and knocking it down. Now, as far as accessories and the things he comes with, you will get 2 scarves. You're going to get one with Blowing in the Wind, where it's broken up into 2 pieces. And you'll get the relaxed motion version of the scarf, which is pretty cool. You'll get the driver where he takes it off, and that way you see the driver without the piece. Now, for this, all you got to do is gently remove this, and it pops right on. And voila. So you don't have to worry about it. Oh, did I break it? Or no. Easily pops off. Not an issue whatsoever. Next up, when the driver is removed, you get the piece for when you're pulling it up. This Amazon does not come with this piece. This is from the original one. It will not be included in the renewal version, so that's not going to happen. Also, you won't get his Daisetsu-zen effect part. This, no, not included. Not included. But good thing is, if you do have it originally, it will work in the new one. Now, as far as hands go, you get the open hands for when you do your Amazon pose, which is really dope. I really love this pose. Or when you're going to get down on the bare hands, you can actually pose it like Spider-Man. Like I said, even when you want to get your Spider-Man pose on, easily acceptable here. Then you have open claw hands for attacking people or doing clawing into people or digging into people, ripping out parts. Like I said, Amazon was really brutal. Then you have the slash hands. And like I said, if you have the previous Amazon, you can do this with the Daisetsu-zen parts. You can actually just slide it in, leaving only one finger out. And it actually holds very well. So I'm going to hold it by the hand. Voila. Then you get hands for holding this driver. So when you want to put the driver parts on, voila, you have hands for that. One thing I also want to show you guys is if you have the jungler, he can actually fit on the jungler as well, so you don't have to buy a new one. So I'm going to swap these hands in so I can show you guys how he fits on the jungler. Oop. Oop. I am not good at hand swapping out the box. Do, 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 do. All right. Now I have the jungler. Now with the jungler, quite easy. You pop him on the bike. Excuse me. So you're going to pop him on the bike. And as you can see here, the hands work just fine for him on his jungler on the previous one. So if you have the previous jungler, you may not want to or have to buy a new one, should they do it. So you have a jungler. Voila. Let me take this off, move you over. Now I'm going to stand him straight up and we're going to do some size comparisons and pretty much wrap up this review. So yeah, let's stand you straight up, get you into a nice pose. Make sure you look good. All right, voila. Now Amazon is standing straight up. One of the things I want to compare him to, the first thing I want to actually compare it to, is his previous counterpart on Amazon. This was the first version. While this is a good figure, when you have him next to the newer version, you can see why I love the second version compared to the first one. Yes, it's really nice. It still holds up. It's still pretty decent. But compared to the new one, it does not hold a candle whatsoever. So yeah, this is really dope to see it how far it's come along the way. Here he is next to Blind Alpha, who Alpha is actually based off of him. So you get to see a little bit of the similarities, size-wise, that they look like. Next up, we're going to compare it to an articulated Icons Ninja. Icons Ninja is a little bit bigger. Next up, we're going to compare him to a fellow renewal of Kamen Rider 2. So as you can see, Kamen Rider 2 and him stand about the same height. Next up, we're going to compare it to a Marvel Legends. I just picked the suit body that I had with a clone trooper head, so bear with me. So you can see size-wise, he's a little bit smaller than those guys, but still pretty good. And then next up, we're going to compare it to a Mezco, Frank Castle. So size-wise, the SHF renewal line stands in line pretty much with itself. Some other imports, but not too well with American stuff. But I think it'll work well against army builders pretty well. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found it informative. I hope you enjoyed the photos at the end. But most of all, hope you do good, be good, drink your water. Later.